ಸಾಲ ಕಪ್ ನಮ್ದೆ.
Anirban, cheers.
Cheers, Sendil.
And thank you for making the time to
Thank you for
come and
having
do this. So you just got back from Kashmir?
Kashmir, yeah.
Okay, firstly when you told me that you're off to Kashmir, I was surprised because, obviously with what's going on and stuff, no one's going anywhere. And you and your friends, you guys went to Kashmir and you told me that it's an annual thing you guys do.
Yeah, so my cousin, he's older by 17 years. Anyway, and we have some common friends. We do a high altitude trek every year.
Oh, a high altitude trek every year?
Yeah.
And
but
this year we picked
Kashmir because the last 3 times we went trekking in the high altitudes, it was too hard.
Okay.
We overestimated how much we could do. So this time we wanted a chill trek, so that's why we went to Kashmir.
I remember you went to Ladakh or something last time, no?
Last time in 2019 I went to Uttarakhand. Yeah, but that was really high up and it was too difficult. It was just climbing. It was no valleys or no beauty around us. It was just climbing. Like there was no reward to all the effort that we were putting in.
Then why did you decide to go to Uttarakhand? Before we get to Kashmir, let me clear that up.
Because trekking is also about feeling macho. The higher you climb, the more you can come back down to the valley and say, I climbed 18,000 feet. Things like that.
So I'm someone who's hardly traveled anywhere, and especially, I'm just not a nature kind of guy. So far, I've not done too many nature thingies. So I don't even know too much about the destinations that most people go to. So Uttarakhand, where did you go in Uttarakhand?
So Uttarakhand, we were doing this trek called Dharasi Pass. Okay. Which so the area we were in, it's actually very close to Nepal, the Nepal border. So it's like as northward you can go in Uttarakhand as possible.
So that is the northernmost point of Uttarakhand before you go into Nepal.
Pretty much. In fact, we went to a place which was like 20 kilometers from the Nepal border. Okay. Like that's where you start seeing the army.
But isn't that also where did Ladakh come then? Isn't that also some on the border? And
no,
people can see China from whatever. I've heard people tell me that from where we are staying, you can see Nepal or you can see China and stuff like that.
In Ladakh, yes, you can see China. So the Pangong Tso Lake, which was made famous by 3 Idiots.
Correct.
I wish they had not made it famous, but anyway. So when you go to the Pangong Tso Lake and you see this vast expanse of water, then one guy comes and tell you, oh, this is just 1/7 of the size of the lake. And you're like, what? There's more water? So apparently the rest of the water is on the Chinese side.
Which you can't really see from the side?
No, you can't. Okay. Because you can only go till the Pangong Tso Lake and then tourists have to go back. There is a proper road built there which goes further on towards the basically the areas which were recently in the news because of Chinese infiltration.
Okay.
But as civilians you can't really go there.
Okay.
There are fantastic roads built there. Which will definitely put the Bangalore outer ring road to shame. But it's only for the army.
Right. So needless to say, you've always done your Ladakh thing. When was that? Which year was that?
I did Ladakh in 2017.
2017. And 2019 you went to Uttarakhand.
Yeah.
Which part of Uttarakhand did you do?
Dharasi.
So the place is called Dharasi, and again it's the whole objective is going upward, up a mountain or a hill.
Yeah, I mean usually these are treks which other people have done.
Okay.
So there are trails which people have discovered and they involve going very high up a mountain pass or maybe to the top of a peak and then coming back the other way or back down the way you came. So it's basically a sense of achievement that I did this trek or did this trail.
I'm assuming it must be fairly some amount of risk also involved.
Plenty of risk.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason why people want to do it.
It's a sense
part of the charm.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that we city dwellers, we lead such safe, comfortable lives. When we pay money to put ourselves in danger and risk.
Yeah.
And we come back to say, hey, I did something cool.
I lived through that.
Yeah, I lived through that. I did something cool.
No, I think a lot of people, outdoor people, right? I mean, I've been so, what can I say, involved in my life and the things that I've been doing the last many years. Actually, to be fair, I think it also I think it helps that you're single and that you are hopefully you're doing well for yourself and you're fending for yourself. So I think you have the time and the means to do an annual, trekkie thing. Right? Somehow most of my life I either didn't have the time or the money. Now I have both, but the pandemic is on, and also there's some other things that I have to do. So I've just not done these adventure thingies. So whenever I meet people like you, people who've done these adventure things, I actually, in a sense, amazed, because like you said, you spend a lot of money, time and effort to go to a place that's challenging. Because why? Because you feel alive.
Yes, definitely. I feel alive, and there are multiple reasons why you would want to do a trek. Okay, I will show you the pictures. I hope you run the pictures as we talk.
Actually, we can do that. That's a good idea.
You can do that. So the kind of things you see on a trek, most treks, are things you cannot see otherwise. There's no way you can take a car till a point and see those views and come back, because the views that we see are nestled in between the highest points of mountains and everything, and there are no roads there.
Let me ask you a very stupid question, okay?
Yeah.
This is the really silly argument I give to people as to why I don't bother doing these things. But the reality is I haven't had the time or the means. So in different order, depending on which time of my life you asked me, I can see it on Google, or I can see a YouTube video of it, or I can see somebody else's pictures of these views, right? I know it's very silly, it's not the same as being there, but being there, how different do you feel? Apart from the fact that, hey, I am here, I did this, and I can talk about this, and I can have experienced this. In reality, is it a high? Because some people say, the high that I get in nature, nothing else.
I think
I know guys who bike up to Ladakh every once in a while, man.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe I shouldn't be the one judging, but I think it's also a show of macho-ness more than anything else for a lot of these guys. For sure. But again, I think to each his own. But they swear that the high that they get from riding in those high altitude, trails, which obviously is very demanding on the body, right?
Yeah.
Give them a sense of being alive.
Whenever I have been to Ladakh or Spiti, so Spiti is the region which transitions into Ladakh. There are people riding bikes in fields all the time. Earlier it used to be those classics. Now it's all the Himalayans. Everybody's riding the Himalayan. And Sendil, nobody's sitting on their bike while they're riding, because their crotch has started to hurt now.
Absolutely, so man.
Everybody's now standing and riding, which is the funniest sight to see, because you are I'm sitting in my Innova and I'm enjoying the views. This guy is standing and riding because I know that his crotch is hurting because of the road or the lack of road.
Yeah, lack of road, and the fact that they've probably ridden a fair amount to get to that point.
Exactly. Right. People start off from wherever they want, but usually people start off from like Chandigarh.
Okay.
Usually.
Okay.
So
Chandigarh that's what? How many 100 kilometers is that?
Chandigarh to Spiti should be around 600 kilometers.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But I guess it must also be fun. I know a lot of motorheads, including our own Ajit and all of that, and I look at them with
Avinash.
a mixture of Avinash, another example. I look at them with a mixture of awe and what can I say? Also amazement as to why. I know it's a very I was very dumb, and I think it's I don't get it. I think everybody has to connect. It's like guys who play video games, right?
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Thankfully I've never been into video games. There are guys.
I feel like this is my opinion. We as human beings all want to feel unique.
Right.
Okay. So whenever we do things which we know everybody doesn't do, we feel unique. That gives us a sense of satisfaction. It could be random, it could be completely pointless, but everybody wants to feel that, I'm doing something which most people are not. So I'm in some way special, or I have some more ability than...
Sure, I've tried to be a biker, man, and of course I've been riding for many years, and I've had a bullet for many years. Now, of course, as part of my midlife crisis, I have a Harley, which you know. Right, but honestly, if someone asks me if I'm a biker because I've had a bullet and I have a Harley, the assumption is that I'm a biker.
Yeah.
I tell them I'm not a biker. I like riding. I like riding once in a while. I like riding in the city when it's not too.
So you don't do like 100, 200 kilometers on your bike?
I think the only long distance I've done is Chennai. Chennai and back, which is disgusting. I am thinking of doing a ride out to maybe as far as Bangalore, Goa, but that's about it. I don't.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's That's an ambition. That's a goal. Like if I do that, I'll be like, well, okay.
Goa is 600 kilometers.
Yeah. Which for most bikers is nothing. Man.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
Most bikers do like 800,000.
Avinash, we both know, rode up to Mumbai and back on his Khatara Enfield, dude, which it's about 20 years old.
He went from Mumbai to Rajasthan and back.
That's what I'm saying. That is, and on his bike.
Yeah.
At least people like Ajit. I mean, I'm sure people who are watching this may or may not know Ajit. Invest in bikes. They buy Triumphs and they buy Ducatis and all of that, right? Which are made for these kind of travel.
Yeah.
Right. I think the Royal Enfield. I mean, respect to the brand and all of that, but come on, these are not machines that today. I mean, I'm not saying they're not equipped, but I think it's brutal on your body to be riding those bikes. Unless riding again an advanced new Himalayan, which is a huge advancement.
But like our colleagues, I mean Avinash especially, like his bike is like 20-25 years old.
Dude, absolutely.
That vibration.
Absolutely. The wind, the drag. I mean, it really takes a toll on your body, man. But
they do it, yeah.
But he does it, and I don't think he's faking it. He genuinely.
No, he does it. Yeah. I know people who have been with him on these rides, so I can.
That's what I'm saying.
That he does it.
I think, like you said, I think we're all. I think we're unique in what gives us a rush.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if in many areas, I think if it comes to physical strength and stamina, right? I don't think I'm any less than Avi or even Ajit. I'm saying if you had to compare, right? I don't think I'm physically weaker, but I think it's the mind. In my mind, I'm thinking, you know what? I don't want to do that. I'd rather take a flight there, and enjoy.
You don't see the point of doing
there.
it.
Yeah. I'd rather drive there. I like driving. I prefer driving any day. I am because it's more convenient. It's safer. And
you can listen to music.
Right? And biking.
You can be with other people in the car.
Absolutely. You can travel
have conversations.
With people. You can have conversations. Yeah. You can stop where you want, when you. Of course, you can do that on bike as well.
Bikes also, yeah.
But not really. Bikes, you can stop anywhere. But how do I say this? There is a difference between a car journey and a bike.
For sure. Like, especially nowadays. So, for example, when we went to Sneha's wedding, Kurpat was traveling on a bike. We were in a car, 4 of us. And he kept stopping. He was flashing past.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. He would have reached to us before had he not stopped. But he kept stopping because how much of the wind on your face are going to take?
Oh yeah.
For how long?
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, when you get off to eat or whatever, nowadays bikers wear a lot
That's what I meant. You can't stop as much on a bike because there's a lot of rituals that you got to do. Take that off, and you repeat the ritual when you get back on your bike.
It's a lot more hassle. It's not like just jumping out of a car.
That's what I meant. On a car, you just jump, you stop, you stretch. Either you pee or you eat or you just have a smoke or you just look around, have a conversation and get back in the car and you drive. If you want it to be, it can be a 5-minute process, right? But on a bike you have to, like I've done, like even, and I'm talking about a stupid ride like Bangalored, Chennai, which is a super comfortable ride.
Yeah, it's very lovely road.
It's a lovely road. Yeah. It takes 5.5. It took me 5.5 hours, right? Because I don't clip. I do.
Do you do it in your Harley?
Yeah, 100, 120. I've done it on the Bullet also. Okay. Bullet took a little longer. Bullet took about 6 hours. The Harley took a little less. I think, but I wasn't. I mean, technically, I should have gotten to Chennai much faster on a Harley, right? But I don't clip. I think I max out at 120, but most of the distance I'm doing at about 100, which I think is safe.
Yeah, and this is the weird part. So when I joined Madras, you had just bought your Harley.
Correct.
And Ajit was coming in his, I don't know what he was riding there, but
he had a Ducati Scrambler, if I'm correct.
He had a Scrambler, correct. And I thought the head of copy and head of art, they're both bikers. Wow, so cool. Then over time I realized you do have the Harley, but you don't enjoy, or I never see you going somewhere. Yeah.
I'm not a biker. I like, I love the bike. I mean, the 750. It's probably it's a TVS 50 of Harley, I suppose. The starting model. Right? That's how I describe it. TVS 50, TVS Champ rather of the Harley stable, right? But super bike, man. If you enjoy riding even a little bit, it's a fantastic machine to own, and it's wasted on me in a sense because it's equipped to do at least 300, 400, 500 kilometer ride
more probably
easily, right? And I probably will use it, but I think more than the machine, it's the mind. It's the mind of the rider.
What made you buy it?
It was a friend's bike. It's a used bike, and that friend, I think he also. I would describe the Harley 750 Street as India's number one midlife crisis bike, because it is of the super bikes. It's probably the most affordable, right? And it's also great looking, and it's also good for shorter guys who are not 5'10", 6. For a guy who's 5'8" like me, perfect balance. In fact, it's even better than my Bullet, because my Bullet is still a couple of inches taller.
Higher, yeah.
You know, and for a guy who's 5'8", it's just about right.
Your bike is more like a bobber.
Correct.
More like
correct,
a bobber.
But yeah, man, even for a guy like me who's a non-rider in my definition, it's a beautiful ride. I sat on the bike and I just went for a ride because he said, hey, you want to take it for a ride? And I was like, whoa, the power is insane. I mean, there's that initial thrust that, and I said, dude, I'd love to. And like I said, I was touching 40 at the time, and I said, what better excuse or time to buy a Harley than when you're, in the thick of your midlife crisis, right?
This makes me wonder. I wonder what.
Also, I think to an extent, for me, it was also about not necessarily about image. I think self-image. At the time, I used to drive a very nice-looking SUV, the Captiva. It's more an
urban the Chevrolet Captiva.
Yeah, urban SUV, and for whatever reason, financial and otherwise, I sold it, right? And at the time when I bought the Harley, I couldn't really afford to buy a really good car. So the option was either buying an okay car or buying this, which is a really cool bike.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I realized that if I did not buy a Harley now, it wouldn't make sense. I don't think I'd ever buy one. I would not buy one at 45, 50 because I don't think I'd have the what can I say? Not more than the physical strength. It's more about the mindset of getting on a bike. I'll tell you, even now, man, in the city, biking, especially in a city like Bangalore with not great lighting in many roads and bad roads in many places, biking is a dangerous thing.
Absolutely.
Highways is different. I can't vouch because I haven't done enough highway riding. City riding, Bangalore is not the safest city to be riding in.
Because there are too many people, autos or other two-wheelers or four-wheelers coming at you?
People coming at you, I think Cochin and Chennai are worse.
Oh.
Much worse. Bangalore is not as bad in my experience. Others might disagree.
But why do you think it's bad then? Because of the roads?
There have been times when I'm driving and you don't see a pothole coming because there's not enough street light. And you boom, and you feel bad for your car. But on a bike, that could be could be you falling on the road and somebody else breaking a bone or somebody else going over you. Thankfully I've not seen. No, I have seen one horrific incident which we'll not talk about. But it's a dangerous city for riders, But I guess when you're in your late 30s, 40, you can still throw caution to the wind a bit. But as you grow older, there are more reasons for you not to do it.
Yeah.
So it was a now or never moment for me.
I guess after 40, you probably. I mean, I don't know. You probably start feeling, okay, I'm sensible now. I don't need to do midlife crisis things. But at 40,
correct, absolutely.
You're in that phase where you're like, no, I need to do something with my
life. I think 40 is that time when you. It's like that when you are passing the baton, I think, in your head, no? From when you were a younger man to an older man. I think 40 is a perfect crossroad in your life. It can be a defining moment. I know it's a number thing. It's in your head, right? But physically, socially, in every way, I think 40 is a big number.
This makes me think. So when I was a teenager, if somebody said young man, that usually meant somebody in their late teens or early 20s. I'm in my early 30s right now. I'm still called young man by people.
You are.
So till what age does this phrase young man
35
get attached?
In my head. 35, 37 tops. In my head, in my definition, 37, 38.
Do you think it's about age or it's about what you've done with your life?
It's also context as to if you're talking to somebody who's 65, even at 40, right? I'm a young man. Okay, right? If I'm talking to a 70-year-old, and if he calls me a young man, but that's the beauty of it, right? I don't think even older men, right? Even 75-year-old men would refer to me as a young man anymore.
Why?
Because I'm not.
No, but you do give off that vibe, though.
No. In my head and in my body, yes. I think I'm a little lucky that the body is still, holding on, and physically I don't feel any less competent than I was at 35. In fact, I'd go as much to say that I think I'm as physically more or less.
You've looked after yourself.
No, I don't think I have. But I
Really?
think I've been lucky that I still have most of the capacity that I had when I was in my early 30s.
Okay.
In fact, the last 2-3 years I've done some work on the body. And I've cut down on the abuse more than doing any work on the body.
I think that's the
I've
most
really
important.
held back on the abuse. I've become a lot more conscious about what I eat. Even more important, I've become conscious about how much I sleep. I've been, and most importantly, I've become a lot more conscious about mental stress. Just being aware that I'm edging towards mental stress and doing something to not be mentally stressed, which I wouldn't bother when you're young. When you're stressed, you don't even think or realize that you're stressed. You are in stress and you react to the stress.
What do you do though? Like when you feel like, okay, I'm in a stressful situation right now and I might react in a stressful way.
Right.
How do you calm yourself? What do you do?
You tell yourself it's pointless to be stressed because stress isn't helping. You just pause, you look at the bigger picture and you realize what's the worst that can happen. And you analyze it and you ask yourself, is this something of course there will be times in your life where the stress you're going through is so severe that just analyzing it is not going to help. You are going to be, it's like
You have to take action.
Let's say for some reason you've had a terrible accident on the road and you've hurt someone very badly. You can't tell yourself what's the worst that can happen, because that is a really horrific situation to find yourself in, right? Then whatever happens,
you have to act at that point.
You will be stressed, man. And nothing you do. Okay,
Yeah.
the cops around you, maybe the relative of the guy or girl you've hit is charging at you. Whatever, man. The crowd around you in a horrible scenario like that, you are going to be experiencing stress, and nothing tell
There's
yourself.
nothing you can do.
Well, not really. I'm sure there are people who, even in that situation, there are a very few minority who manage to remain calm because
And deal with the situation.
Right? In a less stressful manner, right? But barring those hypothetical horrific scenarios, most scenarios in life you feel stressed only because it's your perception. Otherwise it's actually like work stress, which is the most ridiculous kind of stress, because barring again 1 or 2 scenarios, most of the time when we think we are under stress, we don't have to be.
Yeah. What's the worst that can happen again?
No, and the
Nobody's
stress
dying.
is not just that. The stress is caused by the people around us
Absolutely.
who get stressed.
Absolutely.
And then that stress passes on to you. I think one of the reasons that I have, stayed relatively young in the body and in the spirit is because I decided a long time ago that I'm not going to get stressed by mediocre shit. If I'm going to get stressed, it better be something worth being stressed about. Something substantial. Otherwise, pointless. Because I think, and I've read this in the scientific evidence to prove that more than bad health, bad lifestyle, more than pollution, stress causes the biggest harm to your body. Stress is the most harmful thing
I can imagine,
that you can do to your body or mind. You could be smoking, drinking, eating junk food. But if you're calm, if you're one of those guys who's always happy, if you're cheerful no matter what's happening,
Probably not get that affected.
there are actual live examples of people who do all these things but manage pretty okay. And then there are people who are fit, and I've actually, I'm not going to mention names, but there are people who watch what they eat, are physically conscious
Fit.
of what they're doing, they stay fit,
working out,
but inherently stressed, inherently driven towards something that is causing them stress, and they have you'll be surprised by the kind of medical problems that they have. Stress is the biggest killer. Stress is what causes heart attacks, stress is what causes strokes, stress is what causes high blood pressure, stress is what causes mental illness.
I'm starting to get a little scared of growing old right now.
That's my point. I think the reason, and a lot of people think I'm at least 3 or 4 years younger than I am, maybe even as much as 5. Possibly because while I've been through my phase of being stressed and being depressed and all of that, the last few years I've made a conscious effort to be aware of when the stress gets. Hey, you just got to push it out of your head and say, you know what, I can do this, I can handle this, and it's no big deal. Yeah, and you laugh it off. Laughter. I think laughter. Because even I've analyzed, because I think I've abused my body as much as most people, right? But overall, I've managed to keep things together so far. Partly because I've led a very active life. My life has been a little rigorous. It's been demanding for various reasons, which I'm not cribbing about anymore. it's been an physically active life. I've had to walk, I've had to run, I've had to lift things, I've had to carry stuff, I've had to take buses, I've had to ride. And I think the fact that though I'm not a rider, I've been riding for many years. I've been riding for the last 20 years. Even when I had a car, right, I was still using my bike because I enjoyed moving around short distances, and once in a while just ride off to meet a friend because you don't want to take the car today. You
Exactly.
feel the wind in your face, right? But a Bullet, man, is an ancient, mine's a 97 model Bullet. It's an ancient machine, a pain in the ass. Okay? Even this, Harley 750 is not built for a city like Bangalore. It's built for American cities with less traffic and bigger roads.
Where you don't have to stop that often.
Where you're not in stop and go traffic all the time. Stop and go traffic every 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
You probably stop at a signal every 10 minutes.
That's why Activas sell so much.
Brilliant. I'm telling you, it's the least macho of all vehicles, but the scooterettes.
It's the most intelligent thing you can buy with your money.
Ather or the electric bikes that are coming out today are great for you from a convenience perspective, stop and go, and of course on the environment and all of that.
Exactly.
So biking has kept me young because it requires it's a physical thing. Just put them on the stand, take it off the stand. So that's kept me young. But I think, and of course, being aware of mental stress and consciously ensuring I don't get stressed on a daily basis has helped. I think also what's helped is no matter what I've been through, when I've been through some shit in my own time, in my own life, I've managed to laugh it off. I've managed to laugh at myself.
I've seen that about you. Even in the most stressful situations, if there's somebody who's keeping the room temperature low, it's been you. Like we've been in pretty stressful meetings, but you've always had something to say which takes the stress out of other people.
Yeah, because humor, man, I think humor is the best medicine.
Absolutely.
I think in most scenarios and for people, and that's also possibly why I've so far managed to, despite the abuse over the years.
I feel like, and I see this about you, for you to be so less stressed in situations where everybody else is losing their shit is also because you don't really care about what the other person thinks of how you behave.
For the most part, yes. That again, it takes a long time. I don't think I was like this when I was younger. Obviously, when we're younger, maybe even as young as your age, all of us, and we're not really aware of this, we don't think about it. We are heavily bothered by what other the world thinks of us, what other people think of us, what our classmates think of us, what our colleagues think of us, what our neighbors think of us, what the people we like think of us, right? But the beauty of growing older, I don't know if it applies for everybody, but definitely applies for me, and I know applies for some other people as well, is that you begin to you care less and less about what people think about you as you grow older, because you become aware that in honesty, people don't really have the time to think about you. People are more bothered about themselves. They barely have the time to deal with themselves. But the funny thing is, even those people are bothered about what other people think about them.
Exactly.
So they don't have time to think about you. They're really thinking about what other people, which is why people go to expensive Sunday brunches and put up photos on Facebook. Which is why people afford cars that they technically can't afford. Which is why people, max out on their credit cards and go on holidays that they technically couldn't afford. Or they live a lifestyle that isn't really giving them actual joy.
But wedding photo shoots, maternity shoots, birthday shoots.
Absolutely. I'm not trying to diss people who are doing that. To each their own. But I think a huge part of why people do that is not real joy that they get from it, because most of these things don't give real joy.
Social acceptance.
And to show the world that I'm doing okay.
I'm doing great.
I'm doing great. I'm doing okay. Good things happening. I'm a success. I was no different, I suppose, from any of these people when I was younger. But I think there's a time when my life crashed, and I had a lot of time to think. And I realized nobody really cares about me. In the sense that people barely have time to care about themselves, right? Nobody has to care about you. Only you have to care about you. It's not anybody else's responsibility. But also liberated me in knowing that nobody's thinking about me. Nobody really cares about how well I'm doing or not. Right? It's totally up to me.
Or how you behave is not that important.
In what sense?
No, in the sense, like I was mentioning, like the way you don't get so serious about a situation as the people around you.
Yes and no. In the sense, there are two ways of looking at it. One way is saying, you know what, I'm going to behave like a lot of like a lot of people in who come from Gurgaon or UP. That you sometimes see, right? They're like, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'll behave the way I want.
Yeah.
That's one way of being.
That's a sense of entitlement.
Right? Sense of entitlement. That's not what I mean. What I mean is, you know what? I know my intentions, right? I know my intention is not to hurt. I know my intention is not to, steal someone else's thoughts or ideas or moment. I know my intention is not to show somebody else as the weaker or the inferior, right? So as long as I know that what my intentions are, as long as I know that what my capabilities are. Also, a lot of people are insecure.
Oh yeah,
they're worried about
sure.
what people think about them because they are insecure, and that insecurity comes from perhaps not being good at what they're supposed to be good at.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, correct, right? So they have to keep up pretenses. It's important they keep the imagery going.
So the way they behave is, I'm assuming, more of them trying to reinforce that thought in their heads that I am trying to be good at something, or I am trying to be serious about something.
They try to reinforce to people that I am this kind of a person, but in reality they may not be that person, right? It's like a lot of people think I'm carefree, okay? But that's honestly because for the most part I am carefree. I'm not careless, but I am carefree. Like,
this is complete difference.
I don't want you to think I'm a great guy, okay? And I don't want you to think that I'm a bad guy either. But my actions and my conversations with you are not going to be based on that fact. Like, I'm going to tell you what I genuinely think of anything that we're discussing, right? And if you think I'm dumb, so be it, But if you think I'm smart, well, great. But it's not my intention to make you think I'm smart or to make you think I'm dumb. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the difficult part, right? I mean, for example, like, especially like if you are a single man out there and you want to date people, you want to date like whoever, you are continuously trying to say things or do things to appear in somebody's best impressions.
Right. I did that for a long time, and I can tell you it does not give enough results. And even when it does give results, it keeps you in a perpetual sense of insecurity because you're scared the mask might fall. You're scared you might be caught out or found out because in your heart you know what you're doing. Right?
So you don't feel yourself.
Because you're trying to be something that is not necessarily yourself. So there are two ways of doing it. One is you have, and I was told this by an English teacher when I was 11th standard. I think it's one of the most profound things I've heard. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name. So sad. He made the statement in class. He said, one way of living is that you create an image of yourself in society to people, right? And then you live within that image, right? Which means you become that person that you want people to think you are. Right? You have to be, if you really want people to think you're a kind and compassionate soul, the easiest thing or the difficult thing, but the thing you must do is genuinely be kind and compassionate, right? But the minute you're faking it, right, like Ellen DeGeneres, right? She was, be kind was her slogan, and for many years she was the kindest person in America until recently she was caught out because, in this era of cancel culture, a lot of people who worked with her, a lot of her guests came out and said she's actually a very rude and very mean person.
I didn't know this.
Absolutely, man. And it became a big, embarrassment for her. And her show is now over. I mean, she came back.
That's why she's not in the news.
She was in the news. In fact,
that's why she's not so popular anymore. I just realized that.
She was cancelled. In fact, it was a very sad ending to an otherwise very long and successful career for Ellen DeGeneres because...
exactly. She was an icon of sorts for the LGBTQI.
She was an icon of kindness more than anything else. Be kind was a slogan for many, many years. And turns out she wasn't.
I mean, the only thing left is for people to come out and say that Oprah is a mean person.
I don't think Oprah is mean. I think Oprah is very smart. I don't think she's completely faking it, but it's a lot of projection. A lot of projection. I mean, it's marketing, it's brand building.
American culture is built on image.
It's so
building,
sad, and that's possibly why I have huge respect for America for various reasons. But one of the reasons that is causing an erosion of America and American culture today is that they're so caught up with impressions. They're so caught up with what people say and what people... Optics. It's all about the optics. In politics, in society, with celebrities.
And it's seeping into India now a lot.
Yeah. Because we love aping what people do in the West, right? But the good thing is, I think, I have a feeling Indians are less gullible. That's my opinion. Most Indians.
Yeah,
I feel we're less gullible because we're shrewd.
Exactly.
We're far more cunning. And also we're educated. I think our education levels were also very high. We're also exposed.
But that's probably
we're also bigger thinkers.
That's probably more urban India.
Urban. Of course. I'm talking about urban.
But I feel like you're right that Indians are shrewd, because I feel like we who stay in urban India, and I've realized this after with my treks and my jobs which took me to villages, etc. I've realized that people who live in rural areas, they're quite happy.
They're very happy. They're very simple. They're very happy.
Very simple. They make fun of us. Because of the kind of things we are doing with our lives.
Correct. Where you make a lot of money, and yet you get up in the morning and you're running around to lose weight.
Yeah.
Because you're overweight and you're unhealthy, right? Those guys, they don't make much money, but they live simple lives and they're much healthier than we are. And they don't have the need to get up in the morning and run 4 rounds, because life is their workout.
They live longer.
They live happier, though they have less money. But while that sounds as glamorous in a way as it is, I wouldn't trade my city life for a village life in India, because as long as you're healthy, you're fine, man. But the minute you fall sick, the minute someone in your family falls sick, the minute you need money for an emergency, man, in India, anywhere in the world, I suppose, but countries like India, where the government infrastructure is so bad, where the government schools are horrible, the government hospitals are horrible, government facilities, government doesn't really provide enough to support life with less money. In those scenarios, you realize how horrible it is to not have money, to not have influence, to not have a network of people with money and influence. As romantic and as it sounds, the idea of living a village life, I wouldn't do it in India. Maybe if I can afford buy farmland in Oregon, or Florida, or Arizona, where my sister lives, or something like that.
Like you become one of these guys who invest in cryptocurrencies, and you're making money on the side. You go buy a farmhouse, live your life, but you're making money, even though you're not actively doing something, but money is being made for you. So that's the perfect life. But most of us don't have that. Very few of us do.
Coming back to where we started, but we digressed. It was a good digression though. Kashmir. So this year you decided, you and your cousin and friends. How many of you?
This year it was just 3 of us.
3 of us. Okay. Otherwise, how many of you?
The initial plan for Kashmir was actually 7 people. Actually 8 people. But that was scheduled for the early part of June.
Sorry. Technical glitches.
No problem. Okay. And we had fixed the plan by February. And then you know what happened.
Right.
Second wave.
Right.
So everything got shelved. So out of those 7 or 8 people, only 2 of us were willing to actually go on the trek later.
Right, that's what I wanted to ask. So of the 8 people, most people were prudent and said, we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
But you, your cousin and a friend said, you know what, we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Weren't you afraid? Are you vaccinated? 1 dose?
I have a dose.
You have a dose.
I have a single dose. My cousin has both doses.
Right.
And I am not recommending this, but I'm also someone who throws caution to the wind very easily.
Right.
So the last thing I care about is really myself. I will put myself in situations that make no sense, but I'll go and do that. And I just needed to go on a trek. I just had to. No, absolutely. I think a lot of people have been, barring a few sociopaths and hermits like me, most people have been so badly affected by being locked indoors that the minute things opened up, they just went to wherever they could. I'll give you an example. So when I started trekking, we used to be either the only group on that trail or maybe one other group. Okay. This year, the trek that we went for, it's called Tarsar Marsar. Okay.
Tarsar Marsar.
Yeah, so these are 2 lakes which come on a trail. Beautiful lakes. This year, we wanted to do that trek. So we went. And on the way to the village from where the trek starts, we saw a lot of tempo travelers carrying people who were wearing trekking clothes. So when we stopped at a dhaba, I went and asked one of these tempo traveler drivers, which trek are you guys going for? He said, Tarsar Marsar. By the time we reached, we realized that this will be like walking in Commercial Street. I don't want to be in the mountains and walking with like hundreds of people around me. So we decided, as soon as we reached the village, the people who were taking us on a trek, that listen, we don't want to do any of the commercial treks. Take us on a trail which nobody will come. And they did fantastically well. They took us on a shepherd's trail.
Nice.
There were no other trekkers.
Nice.
We were the only people camping wherever we went.
Nice. So basically, you did not do a Tirupati
yeah.
experience.
And when we came back, this is what we heard. The trail that we were supposed to go on, there were 200 people going on that trek every single day. There were 200 new people joining that trail every single day. I don't want to do that. I already do that in Bangalore traffic. Why should I go to the mountains and do that again? Right? I've paid money.
And so how long was this Kashmir trip?
The whole trip was 9 days, but the trek itself was 6 days. 5 nights and 6 days.
So you flew from here to Delhi?
No, I took a direct flight. I flew from here to Srinagar.
Oh, Srinagar, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So from there, as soon as I got off, my cousin was already there. He had been there a day earlier. We took a Innova and we went. It was a 4-hour drive to the village.
But how's the pandemic and stuff affected
Srinagar?
Generally, the whole, because I don't know.
So you know this concept called revenge travel that is happening in India right now?
I've heard about it, but explain.
Basically, people were not able to go out during those 3 months of like
technically a year now, but at least three months of severe lockdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So now people are like, okay, before the next lockdown comes, I'm going to go and travel the fuck out of like my life right now.
Right.
That's what people are doing right now.
Okay.
That is exactly what people are doing.
So you're saying there were huge crowds wherever you went?
There were definitely a lot of people. Huge crowds, maybe, that's subjective. But there was an incredible number of people. Srinagar airport, the day I was coming back, had at least 3,000 to 5,000 travelers. For sure, I'm not kidding.
And weren't you afraid being in this huge mass of people at this time? Let's make it clear to people watching. I'm pretty much like you. I haven't traveled much.
Yeah.
I'm not callous in that sense, but even for me, hearing that 3,000 people, 5,000 people at a place at the airport is scary psyche, man.
This is what it was, and the only thing you can do in that situation is we are a small group of 3 people, stay as close together and away from as many people as you can at any time.
But I suppose once you're out of the airport, it must have been huge enough space to not worry about getting.
The airport is not the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is get on a flight.
Right.
There is no space between you and the next person.
Right.
There's like not even 2 inches.
And the planes are obviously full at this time.
Mostly, yeah. Okay. Mostly.
And tickets are expensive or as?
No, tickets are normal. Yeah. It depends on how in advance you're booking tickets. So
post that Article 370 and all of that, the only image I've had of Kashmir is unrest and soldiers, protests. How's the on-ground situation there in Kashmir? Weren't you scared at all of being shot at or kidnapped?
No.
Like Roja?
No. I wasn't. Everybody keeps saying this, that why did you go to Kashmir in this situation? I don't know.
That's what I wanted to know. Yeah.
I don't know why I did not think that I might face this kind of thing. I guess because I could see a lot of people planning their treks, and we had been speaking to our trek guide for the last 5 months, right? We had been interacting with him, and he had assured us that, listen, you're not going to face any issues. We didn't face any issues at all.
And these were local Kashmiris?
Yeah. Our trek guide was a local. We stayed with a Kashmiri family in their house, had Wazwan, etc.
And how is life in Kashmir? We'll get to the trek in a bit. How's like when I've never been anywhere. Kashmir also includes that anywhere bit. But when I think of life in Kashmir, from whatever I've seen on the media, news, movies, all of that, right? It seems like a place that's very daunting. Of course, all the imagery is beautiful, the lakes are beautiful, the hills, the people, the costumes, the women, the men, everyone seems beautiful, but there seems to be a strain of melancholy that runs through the narrative of Kashmir. What was your experience like?
I agree with you, because when you hear about Kashmir in the media, when you read books about Kashmir, when you watch things like movies about Kashmir, you feel like, oh, there's so much gloom and sadness.
Yeah.
I did not feel that. I did not feel there was a gloom and sadness. But there are two parts of Kashmir, right? There's Srinagar, which is like a city, any other city.
Right.
And then there's the rest of Kashmir, which is up on the hills. So those are the rural parts of Kashmir, right? And people there lead simple lives. They're not doing too badly in the sense that they're not rich, but they're not exactly impoverished either. And the village we went to did not have any sign of the army.
Oh, that's pleasantly surprising.
That is very surprising because Srinagar itself is highly, it has a lot of security. You see army all the time. On the highway itself, it's a beautiful highway, very good roads, but you keep stopping every 20 minutes because the army stops you to let convoys through. Especially after Pulwama, there's been a lot of focus on security on the highways, right? But once we reached that village, which was a little after Pahalgam is a very popular tourist spot. It was definitely not an overjoyous, happy place. But I'll tell you this, the people of Kashmir, and we mostly interacted with very Kashmiri people. They were very warm to us and they spoke to us very nicely. There's this thing called Kashmiriyat, which is the way people of Kashmir behave. And they were very warm and nice to us. But you can sense that it's not entirely authentic. They are doing that because at the end of the day, Kashmir lives on tourism. That is I think their main source of revenue is tourism. So they are nice to tourists. They are very good with tourists. But you can feel somewhere that there is a sense of them not being their selves completely with you. That comes, you can kind of sense that. And you don't want to probe further because you don't know what you're stoking. Right? You don't know what kind of fire you're stoking. The family we stayed with, they were very simple people, very nice people, and the father was the head of the family and he was the person leading our trek. He was also an outspoken person. Okay, and
I'm gonna pour myself a drink.
Yeah, sure.
Go for yours, dude. Finish it. I think the more drunk you get, maybe better stories might come out.
Possibly. So, also good choice of gin.
It's not bad at all, huh? It's not bad at all. I mean, I'm not a gin person. I just got this for you because you're a gin person. But I think the first time having the Stranger and Sons, I loved it for the bottle. I loved it for the name, Stranger and Sons. I mean, how do you think of a name like that? It's fantastic. I mean, as a writer, as a copywriter, I would think I could have thought of a name like that.
Exactly. I'm sure there's
not
no
10 years. I could have thought of 100 options for a gin, but Stranger and Sons wouldn't be one of them, I think.
It's
fantastic.
Beautiful. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, I mean, we were staying with this family who are essentially 4 months of the year, they work as these trek organizers, okay, and the rest of the months they are farmers, okay, they have
what do they farm?
They farm different types of vegetables that they mostly eat themselves. A little bit they sell off. They have lots of sheep. So what happens there is you rent out your sheep.
Oh. You rent out your sheep?
Yeah, you rent
a sheep?
Yeah, you rent sheep. Yeah, so
Bhavesh, you want to help yourself with a drink? Go for it.
Yeah, so you have 100 sheep and there are 10 shepherds who want 10 of your sheep each. And they'll pay you $5,000 per sheep or something like that.
That's an idea, dude. Rent a sheep.
Yeah. Wow. And they'll take these sheep up high up in the mountains where human beings cannot even climb. Okay, I mean, we couldn't climb.
Right.
But wherever we went till, there was sheep. Even if I'm looking at a glacier, there's something moving and then I see through my binoculars, it's a sheep. How did it reach there? I don't know. But anyway.
But why do people rent sheep?
It's a source of revenue. They can get the wool from the sheep, which sells as pashmina. I mean, actually, pashmina is more on goats. But that wool sells. There's milk,
But why can't I get my own sheep? Why am I renting your sheep?
You probably don't have enough money to buy sheep.
Oh, it's like people renting farmland and farming and paying the landlord some money or...
Exactly. So people rent sheep also.
So I have too many sheep to take care of. So a part of my sheep goes to this guy who takes care of it and I get a cut of the wool or I get some...
No, they'll pay you some rent.
Some rent.
Yeah. And so what
happens...
It's
like people who buy autos, rent it off to auto drivers.
Exactly. And there's also this situation where you give 20 sheep to a guy. He comes back at the end of summer with 15 sheep. And he said, 5 died. 5 fell off a cliff or 5 were eaten by bears or whatever.
Yeah, which can happen, right?
Which probably didn't happen.
Which probably didn't
because
happen.
This guy kept those 5 sheep for himself.
But where would he keep them? He'd get caught, right? Just go to your house.
No, he'll keep them somewhere. You don't know where he lives. The Bakarwals or the Gujars, as they're called, they don't really have homes. Okay, so you don't know where he's keeping the sheep. He could keep them anywhere.
But if that's the way it is, I wouldn't be renting my sheep out, right? Because you know how it is. I mean,
what else will you do with your sheep? There's nothing else you can do. You can't take your sheep to graze in the mountains. You don't have time. You're doing other stuff.
This is your subsidiary income. It's like additional income for you, right?
Exactly.
So once in a while, you take it as a part of the business loss.
Exactly. So, for example...
Also, I guess if I took your sheep and didn't return back the sheep I took once or twice, I guess you wouldn't give me your sheep again.
Exactly. I would stop giving you sheep after a point of time. So unless you as a shepherd are confident that I'm going to get more sheep from another guy, I'll give up like 5 less sheep to this guy.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about it. What will you do? Like, he's already paid you the money for renting the sheep. There's nothing else he owes you.
Incredible.
And another thing is that, so when you go on these treks and trails, sometimes, and most of the time, you're not around any other human beings. And sometimes there is no visible path. So how do you know which path to take? Because there's rocks you have to climb, there's trails you have to follow. Like, sometimes it's not visible what is the path. The only thing which helps you, sheep poop.
Okay.
If a sheep or a horse, if you see horse dung is the best thing. It is your guiding path on a trek. If you see horses have been through here, you're on the right track. That means you're getting somewhere where civilization is. Otherwise, you lose your way.
You can just be lost in the hills for hours or days.
Exactly, because you don't know where to go. Everything looks the same. But if you see horse dung going like
down a trail, then you know that's a trail you got to follow.
Exactly.
And second in that pecking order is sheep poop.
Sheep poop, yeah. Sheep poop is less trustworthy because sheep are
just not the most trustworthy animals. Yeah. Something about them, dude. They don't seem, entirely trustworthy.
Yeah, I mean, if I was, this is weird, but if I was a female sheep, I would not trust male sheep at all. Like, they will go hump anything which looks remotely humpable or remotely like a sheep, It's crazy how much sheep mate.
So basically, they're not really strong on commitment. The male sheep.
Not at all.
That's so weird.
If you, I don't know if you've seen this show called Clarkson's Farm.
No.
Okay, so Jeremy Clarkson. Jeremy Clarkson. Okay. He's come up with this show called Clarkson's Farm where
Jeremy Clarkson of the guy who had
Top Gear.
Correct.
Correct. So he has a show called Clarkson's Farm where he becomes a farmer. Okay, he buys a farm and he does farmer things. So in one of the episodes, he buys 60 sheep, 60 female sheep. Okay, and then he asks his manager, "So what do I do with these sheep?" Yeah, so the manager says, "You've got to make them mate, and they'll give off lambs. You sell the lambs, and that's how you earn money." So what does he do? He buys 2 rams, 60 female sheep. Guess how many lambs he got after the mating season?
120.
Wow, that's good. Yeah, he got 120 lambs.
What do you say? I was right?
Yeah.
My guess was just 2 per sheep. That is my guess.
Exactly, but from 2 rams, 2 male sheep, 60 female sheep.
I'll tell you what, if I was sheep, I would not be female sheep. I'd probably be male sheep, dude. Because that's in its own way, that's an interesting way to live.
That's actually...
So if I was an animal, I'm thinking, I used to always think I'd be a wolf,
Lone wolf.
I thought if I was an animal, what would I be? When I was young, of course, I kept saying lion and tiger. But really, I really don't think I'm a lion or a tiger.
Those are not great lives either, to be honest.
But you know how it is, the alpha male desire to be a lion and a tiger,
exactly.
King of the jungle and stuff. But realistically, I've asked myself, I don't think. But wolf was something that seemed, close to who I am. But now after your story, I think I'll just make that sheep, dude, male sheep.
I'm telling you, and that's the sad part about, being a human being versus being male sheep. Like, look at the sex ratios. They are so skewed. I mean,
what do you mean?
As a single man, like there may be 100 single men out there, my age,
right?
And there'll be only maybe 10 single women my age at any point of time.
I don't know. How do you arrive at that statistic?
I'll give you a...
Let me give you... Actually, I think I understand what you're trying to get at, but let me explain it this way. I think for every 100 eligible men out there, I think there possibly are, 50... how do I describe this? I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's skewed statistically. I think it's more about women willing or women who are allowed to have a mate outside of a traditional conservative marriage.
And that number keeps getting lesser as the older you grow. Because like the older you become as a man, the less single women there are out there. I
shall tell you this. Yeah. This is my opinion, and to an extent my experience. You are absolutely wrong, and I think it's important that you should know this. I think it's important that there's anybody your age, single guys seeing this, that you should know and take hope in the fact that, weirdly enough, it's been my experience, and I think it's also been the case. The older a man grows, of course, the cutoff is 45. Okay, in my books. Okay, older.
Let's talk after you're 45.
Till about 45, right? A man still has options. The chances of finding a woman who might like you, who might want to be your girlfriend, who want to be your partner, who would like to marry you, are still very high. It's difficult for a woman. I think once she crosses 30, it gets a lot more difficult, and once a woman crosses 40, it gets even more difficult because most guys find a partner by the time they're 30, 35. Okay, very few are left in the market, and the men who are left, who are single, 35 plus, they don't want to get tied down by a woman. Most men, once they have enjoyed the freedom of being single for that long a time, they don't want to get tied down. And a lot of women, right, even younger women, like, and in some cases prefer older men. In fact, my own experience, I would say that I could be wrong, but I think more women found me attractive when I was in my late 30s and even my early 40s than I was in my mid 20s, man. Women just didn't like me when I was 25, 26, 27. Women just didn't, or at least not enough women liked me. Very, very few women liked me.
The women you liked didn't like you.
That's what I mean. Of course, there's always, and that's a beauty actually. Good that you brought that up. There's always someone who does like you, but the question is, do you like them back, right? And if the person that you like, that you're attracted to, the problem is they may not like you back. But there's always someone who likes you.
This makes me...
For a woman, but unfortunately, let me finish my point. The problem is men, unfortunately, mostly like younger women.
You think so?
Absolutely. Most men.
Why? Because they want to feel a little more in control of the equation, like that?
To an extent. Older women are harder to, maneuver. A young woman is still finding herself. She's still, it's more gullible, I'd say, more full of, also, I think younger people are full of energy, right? But a young guy is a pain in the ass. He does stupid shit. Young men get drunk. Young men, fall, break bones. They get in trouble.
Who are these young men?
I don't know, man. Guys, even me included, when I was young, and people that I know, they do stupid shit. Young guys do stupid shit. Young girls also do stupid shit, but I would say relatively less stupid shit, and relatively less number of young women do nonsense as compared to the number of guys that do it. A young man is hard to like, even by other men, even by family. You know what I'm saying? Young men are just stupid, dude. Yeah. I remember me at 25, okay? I wasn't a completely gone case, but I was a much stupider version of what I am today. Much, like immensely stupider. Women are smarter. Even a woman in her 20s is not as stupid as a guy in his 20s. I think it's also partly because as a guy you can get away with a lot of shit. You can go where you want, do what you want, get in trouble, get into jail, get into fights, and you still, the chances of you being harmed physically, and what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get beat up. But women have far more dangerous consequences, right? I mean, kidnap, rape, molestation, far more scarring things. Women have to be careful.
Exactly, like women have a lot more to think and be careful about.
Absolutely, whereas men don't.
Like they can throw caution to the wind a lot more. Yeah.
A lot more, and so that makes young men not very appealing to a lot of people. But a young woman, right, there's a certain innocence, there's certain wildness, there's a certain energy, right? But as they grow older, of course, you become more sedate, right? Which women appreciate in men. When you become a gentleman, when you become more chivalrous, you think a lot more before you do stuff if you can articulate yourself.
And you're in control of situations.
Also, absolutely, you're in control of situations. Also, hopefully, you also have a higher earning capacity. That also matters.
I think that's a very important.
That's a very important factor. When you're broke and you can't, the best date you can take the girl out is McDonald's. There's not too much respect there. You know what I'm saying?
Like in Bangalore terms, if the best you can do is take a girl to Chinlam,
correct.
Not happening for you.
Not happening for you, man. Unless that girl is in love with you, because of who you are, and as opposed to what you bring to the table, literally and metaphorically.
I feel like even that concept of love is like it depends on a person's beliefs, like what they believe love to be. Like some people don't believe love is about giving up what you care about for another person. Some people don't think like that.
Love, that's a tough one.
Oh yeah.
Tough one. Love is it's a disease, man. It's a disease. And you can falling in love is pretty much. Falling prey to the disease, you know what I'm saying? And it happens when you least expect it. I'm not talking about attraction, right? You're attracted to X, Y, Z. Of course, there's no love without attraction, okay? But attraction necessarily does not mean love. Okay?
Not at all.
But love is a disease because more often than not, you are not in control of who you fall in love with.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you see a guy and a girl, you're like, what's she doing with him or what's he doing with her? Because she's too good for him, or sometimes he's too good for her, right? Yeah. Love is inexplicable, and the young are more capable, more susceptible, and they are more capable. I think it's also a capacity to be able to love. Is also a capacity. You need to have the capacity, which as you grow older, you're less capable because you are more aware. You also try to. When you're young, you just fall in love with a person because they're funny. Or because hey, they're good looking, or because you get along,
But here's my question, and this is the last thing I'll talk about love, which is that do you think the definition of love changes as you grow older? Your definition of love, do you think it changes? Do you think it evolves as you grow older, as you have more life experiences?
I think the love you feel for someone can evolve over a period,
But not the concept of love in your head.
The concept of love, to me, if I have to put it very briefly, is possibly when you really love someone, I'd like to believe that you are willing to do whatever it takes to make him or her, or if it's a child, feel safe, feel secure, feel happy, feel cherished, feel loved, and feel special. You know what I'm saying? And you are willing to go to any extent, even if it's detrimental to your own happiness. That to me is the definition of love. When you are willing to put the other and the needs of the other in front of your own, right? That's love. That's true love. And it can happen. And I think the truest form of love is that of a mother and a child. And I think a close second would be a father and a child. A very close second, because biologically, a mother and a child are more connected. Romantic love is difficult because most people who think they're in love are not really in love. They're just infatuated. They're heavily attracted to the other person because he or she is an attractive person, or there's something in. Sometimes you lack something in yourself and you find that in the other, and that also causes an infatuation which you think is love. But unfortunately, most of us, when we think we fall in love, are not really in love. We're just infatuated. We're heavily attracted. So the problem with love, attraction, is that it wears off. Right? Love changes, yes, of course. It changes. There's ups, there's down, and no matter how amazing and attractive the other person is, once you get to know them well, you see their flaws as well as their, their attributes, their positive attributes, right?
Love is a Pandora's box, so I think we should just steer clear of it for now. But it's like you can have an entire podcast just about love, but there are thousands of it, so I would tell you not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the ratio that I was talking about, the reason I mentioned that there are more men and
but coming back to sheep and men, I'd rather be a guy than sheep.
You'd rather be a guy than sheep, or sheep than guy?
I'd rather be a guy than sheep.
Why?
Well, very few parts of the world, I'm sure there are very few parts of the world serve man biryani, dude. But, the last thing I want to do is end up, on someone's plate of dinner. And when you're a sheep, I think the chances are fairly high. You know,
Agree. Fair
especially if there's Eid around the corner and stuff. Right?
You're done.
You're
Life cycle is born.
You may have a
till
very,
Eid.
very, very short and sexually active life, but you're gonna end up at the butcher's table. So, for that
So you'd
reason,
rather have a longer life.
I'd rather have a longer, less sexually active life. You know, so that's the thing.
But yeah, about the ratios. So the reason I mentioned this, and you are lucky that you are not in the world of dating apps.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I was in the world of dating apps for about 24 hours.
Oh really?
24 hours. I tried just for the heck of it.
Okay.
Because when I got divorced and I was officially single, right? So that was when the first app. What was the first app?
Tinder.
Tinder was the big thing, right? And so I got on Tinder. And I put up a photo and I put up some. I didn't really spend too much time, but I just put some basic description. I just wanted to see what happens,
Yeah.
right? Because I could.
Yeah.
I was single, so I could, right? Because before that I was married and all of that, and it was not, all of that. And there's whole swiping left, swiping right thing, right? And the deal was that the other person also swipes left
So
or right.
if you swipe right on someone, that means you're telling the app, I like this person.
Correct. And if that person also
happens
swipes right
to see
on
you and swipes right on, then you match and then you can start talking.
then you can have a communication. You can have communication and all of that, right? Well, I firstly, to be very fair, the women I saw on the app, honestly, I wasn't really attracted to so much, but I just wanted to see how this goes. So I did swipe on a few of them, just to see. Firstly, apparently the algorithm itself, if you're a guy, it's skewed towards the woman.
Oh yeah,
There are more
for
women. There are more guys and less women.
That's what I'm saying.
And no, the algorithm wants you to pay and go to the next paid thing. Okay, so it makes it harder for you. Number one. I don't want to pay in shit. Okay, balls.
Bad enough,
more importantly, I swiped on a few women who were okay. I mean, I don't know anything about them. They seemed okay. I'm sure they were the best pictures to begin with. Going by their pictures, right?
It's called catfishing.
Correct. So, catfishing. I didn't know this. Yeah, it's correct. Catfishing, right? So they didn't swipe back.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't want to have a coffee with me? Really? I know it's a very egoistical thing, but I was like, you would be lucky to have a cup of coffee with me, and you don't want to swipe me? You know what? I don't swipe you, and I just delete the app. And I'm very happy I did, because I think I'm not against dating apps, but I think a lot of people have had fairy tale,
Yeah, I know people who got married after meeting on Tinder.
So I'm not against dating apps at all. I think it's a sign of the times. I think it's modern. I think especially in the West, I think a lot of people are using dating apps. But I would still advise people to, if you can, if you have the patience, if you have this, it's because in anything, man, the tougher thing always gets the higher reward.
And so this is the thing. I mean, like you said, for every 1,000 right swipes that a guy does, he may get one right swipe back.
Yeah, man, that makes you a desperado, dude.
And that your self-morale, like your morale.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, it goes for a toss.
I'm telling you, I swiped maybe 3 people. And the fact that these 3 chicks had the audacity to not swipe back, I said, fuck you.
No, but I'll tell you what, there's a chance that they probably didn't even see you.
Perhaps.
Because
I'm not blaming them, because my ego was so badly hurt. And maybe it was really presumptuous of me, maybe it was very pompous of me, but I said, dude, if this is how this shit works, this is not for me. I just realized that it wasn't for me. Maybe my ego was too big, or maybe I wasn't desperate enough. But maybe I was too hurt at that point in my life to go through that kind of rejection.
But it's great that you had that sense of self-worth to get off the app. Because that's the thing, right? For every 1,000 guys on the dating apps, there is one girl. There is one girl. So, for example, I have this cousin, and I made her download a dating app. Okay, like we went out for lunch. At the beginning of lunch, I made her download the dating app. At the end of lunch, which was about like an hour and a half later, she had 200 people.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You could be a not so attractive girl and get a lot of matches on dating apps. You could be a fairly attractive guy and the perception you have
before you get a match.
I'm not attractive enough, right? Which I think is can be very misleading. It can be harmful for the guy. My suggestion to people who are single, I don't know where you are. If you want to, I know you are single.
You're
single. I don't know how keen you are on not being single or whatever your deal is. But my advice to guys who are single is that if you can find a way to naturally make yourself more attractive, right? And if you can find a way to just be out there, like I'm at a stage of life, right, where I love being indoors. Firstly, I have a partner right now, and secondly, even otherwise, I've always liked being within myself. People think I'm a extrovert. I have extrovertish tendencies, but I like to be by myself.
You're an ambivert.
Yeah, correct. That's a new term, right? I'm an ambivert, right? I like being myself, being by myself. I like spending time with myself, and once in a while, I like to socialize with people I like. And if there are people I don't like, I try my best not to be rude, but more or less I avoid socializing unless I really am. And especially as I grow older, I feel like time is too valuable, too precious to just waste away, right? But coming back to single guys, find a way to make yourself more attractive. Ask yourself, man, why don't women find me attractive? Find out the answer to that. Is it because I'm not articulate enough? Or is it because I don't dress well enough? Or is it because my body language is that of a loser, right? You don't have to be a loser to have the body language of a loser. You might be a bright young man. You could be somebody with a lot of promise. You could be somebody with a great sense of humor. But if you're going to walk around and dress like a loser, put yourself in the shoe of, actually, you know what I would like all men, young men, single men who want women in their life to do is look at the mirror. Ask yourself, if I was a girl, would I date this person? If I was a girl, would I find this person attractive?
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself. The answer could be no or maybe. Or yes, if the answer is yes, then you don't have a problem. But if the answer is maybe or no, then don't just put yourself down. Ask yourself, okay, now what can I do to make that person? Because that's the person you're working with, you can't change.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't change the person, but you can change things about the person in the reflection, right? You can be more self-aware, which is attractive. You can be more well-read, which is attractive. But whatever it is, make it a real change. Don't fake it, right? Make it genuinely change yourself.
Like you genuinely want to be a better person or a different person.
If you have a really bad physique, right? Genuinely get fit, right? Don't wear clothes that make you look a little fitter. Some lot of people, I don't wear stripes or whatever it is. I'm saying anyone can be fit. Anyone can be physically attractive. Anybody. You may not be good looking because you don't have the features, and maybe you don't have great hair. Maybe you don't have great skin, right? But you can still be physically fit, and fitness. And anybody who's physically fit is automatically a little more attractive. The art of conversation. I think this is something that's helped me. Being able to communicate with your fellow human beings. A lot of women find that attractive because that is an attractive quality, to be able to express an idea.
It exudes confidence.
Absolutely. That confidence, if it's real, that in itself is attractive. I've met some conventionally ugly guys who women find very attractive. When I was young, I'd be like, what the heck? Why do women like him? And I did think of studying. I did something and analyzing, because I was single and I was desperate too in my life, a lifelong time ago. And I think that helped. The fact that I studied and I understood, analyzed, and that helped me improve myself. So I think the task for single men is, I'll tell you this with absolute certainty, because I have a lot of women today are very comfortable around me because I'm an older guy and I don't have any hidden agendas or intentions. So women feel comfortable around me because I'm an open guy. I make guys or girls, I know I make it clear what I want, what my relationship with them is, so you can be comfortable around me. Bangalore has so many beautiful, attractive single women who are desperate for a guy. Absolutely, trust me on this. I come from Chennai. I can tell you, it's a less conservative city, Bangalore, and women are willing to date. There are many hundreds of attractive single women who want attractive single guys, but the problem is the guys they meet who are single, they don't find attractive. Men have lower standards. We are okay to go out with almost any girl. Almost, okay, because you reach a point of desperation in your life, okay, where you know what, I'm okay as long as it's a female, half decent looking, doesn't smell too bad, I'm okay, dude. Also men get horny. I mean, of course, everyone's horny, right? But men desire sex, but more than women. Women want.
I feel like we are also in a stage of time right now, and women are aware that they can pick and choose. They know they have a lot of options.
In Bangalore, in Bombay, maybe in Delhi. Not every city.
In Delhi.
Not every city.
But I'm just saying, I'm talking in the context of Bangalore. So it's very hard to also, I feel, get a woman's attention, because a woman always knows there's someone better out there.
But here's my point. Be that someone better. Absolutely. Be that someone better. Because I am telling you what has helped me in my life, and I've been open about this to most people, including women, and women laugh about it. Of course, my sense of humor helps. Sense of humor helps, man. I've gotten through life.
But not everybody is innately funny.
I was not funny.
What are you saying?
I'm telling you. Ask some people who knew me when I was 21. Was Sendil a very funny guy? They'd say, assuming they never met me after I was 21, they would... I don't think most people would remember if I was funny or not. Most people who knew me in my early 20s, I was a very unmemorable guy. I was a very, not that I'm highly memorable now, I'm not suggesting that I am. I was a very, very below average, mediocre guy in many aspects, okay? But I put in an effort because I hated who I was. I was filled with self-loathing because I was... Nothing about me that I found special. Nothing about me that women found attractive. Nothing about me that anybody found, extraordinary, right? And I wanted so desperately to be better than who I was in every aspect. I figured humor was an easy route to get the attention.
But did you actually work on developing a sense of humor?
Of course.
How do you do that?
I think the first thing you do that is look at people who have a sense of humor. Understand what makes them funny. I think being able to accept life and see life with what can I say? I think the first thing you require to have a sense of humor is to be able to see the most nonsensical aspects of life, and take it in your stride. To be able to make fun of the stupid parts of life, whether it's yourself or whether it's your circumstance, right? Most stand-up comedians, when they start, it starts always with self-deprecating humor, right?
Yeah.
That's a good place to start. But my advice: a lot of guys stop there. No woman wants to be with a guy who's always putting himself down, right? So start there. It's okay to put yourself down a little bit, but don't stop there. Right?
Evolve your humor.
And start looking at the world with a sense of humor, right? Look at the funnier side of life in every day, whether it's your work, whether it's with your family, how funny your parents are, caricatures, caricature everything around you in your head, man, see everybody for what they are, whether it's your principal, even the women, even the men, even your boss, or even the cop on the road, right? Try to just remove the cynicism that is naturally, inbuilt, and just see them for who they are, and you realize life is funny. People are funny, man. People are hilarious. Not always in a good way, right? Yeah. Life is so funny. Sense of humor helps tremendously. It helped me, and I had to work on it. Today, people think I'm a very funny guy. In fact, I remember once that this is probably the best compliment I've ever got in my life. I was at a meeting. I don't want to mention the company name. Very big MNC. A beverage company, and I was doing a film for them, and I was presenting a film and all of that I'd shot as an ad filmmaker, and I was just cracking some jokes because that's how I break ice with clients and stuff. I just crack a joke, and because most people are very stuffy in corporate environment, right? I don't give a shit, dude. That also helps. Don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But then you should really not give a shit. When you don't give a shit, it can also backfire on you sometimes. Yeah. People might think you're flippant. People might think, oh, he's just not serious and all that. Don't give a shit. By don't give a shit, I don't mean, I'm not saying be complacent, be lazy. I'm saying genuinely, because nothing in life is really worth taking too seriously. Right?
That's true.
I think that's the most important thing about having a sense of humor. Don't take life seriously. I mean, be serious about the things you are focused on. But life itself,
small things,
don't take it too seriously. Nothing in your life, none of your problems.
The way people behave, I think that's the thing we take way too
seriously.
Absolutely. Don't completely unnecessary.
Don't take things seriously. Of course, pay attention to what you're doing. Be serious in your efforts. Be serious in what you plan to achieve. But life itself, you don't have to take very seriously. Take it with a sense of excitement and look at things with a sense of humor.
Let yourself be amused.
Let yourself be amused. Absolutely, that's a good way of putting it. Let yourself be amused by life. Because if you do, man, you can find comedy in everything around you. Right? A sense of humor, number one. Confidence. Be confident in who you are. And if you're not confident, figure out why and improve on that. If you're like, what, I speak very badly in meetings. So improve yourself and speak better in meetings. Right? So again, coming back to this compliment for this guy, you stopped me. That guy, one of the junior clients, for some reason, I cracked a joke, they all laughed, and he said, you know what, you're the funniest person I've ever met in real life.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, this is 5 years ago. I was about 37, 38, and he was not the senior guy. He was just one young, and he was a young guy at the client side. Okay, I don't know his name. I don't remember his name. He's not a significant person in that pecking order. But I was so flattered that there is a human being, right, who at that moment,
thinks of you like that.
And he had no reason to flatter me. Okay, he had nothing to gain from me. He was on the client side. I was just a vendor in that sense, right? There was no reason for him to flatter me or compliment me. He genuinely just felt it and he blurted it out. So you know what? You're one of the funniest guys I've met in my
the entire room.
Yeah. No, so his point in his real life,
I'm saying he said it in front of the entire room.
Yeah, casually, he's like, the funniest person I've met in real life. And I was so, what can I say, flattered. I was also very, what can I say, I was inspired, man. And I was inspired, wow, someone, and it doesn't matter who that person is, some human being thinks I'm the funniest person they've ever met. And things like that, and I don't try to be funny on purpose or whatever it is. I just carry a sense of humor to make everybody else in the room comfortable. Everybody else in the vicinity comfortable. Works most of the time, backfires some of the time, but because some people don't have a sense of humor, they're stuck up, and they see people's sense of humor as flippant, as arrogant, as non-committal or non-serious, and usually because they are a little envious, and also because they're a little too serious. These are people who are at some level a little angry, anxious, sad, and not willing to deal with it. Anyway, so sense of humor helps. Confidence. But for confidence, your foundation has to be strong. Yeah.
What about overconfidence?
Absolutely. So you have to be self-critical also. It's so easy to become arrogant. It's so easy for me to say, I'm the funniest guy in the room, I'm the funniest guy everywhere, and become so arrogant and so self-involved that I lose sight of the fact that I've become a joker. See, it's one thing to have a sense of humor, another thing to be a joker. It's okay to be a joker when you're 25. At 45, when you're a joker, you are a joke, not really a joker. You become the joke.
Wow, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's also, these are things to be
situational,
everything's in context. Everything has to be in context, right? Overconfidence is also a real thing. A lot of people are overconfident because they're very good looking. A lot of people are overconfident because they're very rich. A lot of people are overconfident because they achieved success at a young age. It never leads to anything good. Confidence is good, overconfidence is bad. And most women don't like overconfidence.
I'm talking about a situation, you're right, women don't like overconfidence. I'm talking about a situation where, somebody in their head has been told, okay, you need to show confidence. So they kind of show confidence, but overdo it.
Because the confidence is not real. Because that confidence is fake. Because they are portraying a sense of confidence, whereas in reality, deep down inside, they are insecure. And you know what? To an extent, everybody is a little insecure. And most people don't realize it. There are situations where even I'm a little insecure because life is unpredictable, man, and you're not ready for everything that happens in life, right? Every situation, every meeting, or every work problem, or life problem you face. Sometimes you're unprepared because it's a new experience. You haven't handled this before. You are a little insecure and you are a little unsure of whether you can handle this as well as you want to. But you tell yourself, you know what, you can do it. You push yourself. But at the same time, you don't get so callous like, no big deal. Unless it really is no big deal for you. A lot of times, a lot of things that stress people out, honestly, is no big deal for me because I've been there, done that so many times that today, like work meetings, pitches, presentations, I've been through so many of those through sheer experience and effort in improving myself one meeting after another. That today, walking into a meeting to talk to a room full of people is not daunting because I've done it 100 times and I've prepared 100 times, right? So confidence has to be real.
So it's okay to keep failing, just keep trying. Absolutely. Are you saying that?
You will always fail. Everybody will fail all the time in everything they do. The question is, how often do you fail? How often do you succeed? The ratio is what makes the difference. If you can fail, if you can succeed more times as you grow older, then you're more successful. That's all there is. And women, of course, coming to that success, right? So, sense of humor is great. Confidence, of course, is wonderful. I think men and women, but I guess women more because men are. The stereotype is that you are the breadwinner, you are the provider, you are the protector.
So that you have to initiate that romantic conversation or whatever it is, the romantic interest. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on men to initiate romantic interest.
Yes. Most women, not all women, most women expect the man to take the lead.
Yeah.
It is the man's task, biologically, socially, culturally. It has always been the man who takes the lead. Of course, some women, today's feminism is on the rise. They think men and women are equal, and some women don't appreciate it, or they don't think it's a big deal, and they even get offended when the man takes the lead or whatever. But that's a very small minority. Most women expect the man to be a man up, and
Take the lead.
But taking the lead doesn't mean you just walk up to some random girl at a bar and impose yourself on her.
Yeah.
It's fine. You go say hi, and I don't do that. I can't. I tried doing that a couple of times in my life.
Oh, going up to a girl in a bar?
A random stranger and just talking to them, be confident. It just wasn't me, and I was so awkward, and I think I made the other person uncomfortable. So I never tried that. I don't think I'll ever try that in my life again. A lot of guys do. I'm not against it, but you got to make sure you're not intimidating the other person or making them uncomfortable. There's a very thin line, and never ever do it when you're drunk. If you're buzzed, because that's
you can't approach a new person when you're drunk.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Because being a little buzzed can make you less inhibited and
take
stuff.
off certain
but when you're drunk or if you're under the influence of alcohol, alcohol is a terrible thing. I know I shouldn't be saying that while I'm drinking. If you can control your drink, if you can control the alcohol, then it's okay. But once you reach that point where the alcohol is controlling you, avoid all kinds of romantic associations or walking up to girls in bars, because you are most probably and most likely going to make a complete fool of yourself. So avoid that, right? But I think there's also culture. In Chennai, if a guy walks up to a girl, I don't know about now, in my time, 15 years ago, right? Women get psyched because it's a little conservative city and a lot of men are jerks. They can't handle themselves. They don't know. They're not experienced. They're not exposed, because most guys in Chennai haven't really had too many interactions with women. The average guy I'm talking about. Okay. Bangalore, not so much. Bangalore is a little more cosmopolitan. A lot of guys have exposure. They've interacted with women from the time they're a very young age, and also culturally it's real progressive. So women are okay with guys approaching them in bars and stuff.
It's an expectation.
It's not always. Some women get annoyed, but they're okay. They understand what's happening. They're not going to slap you or complain to the bartender.
If you've gone to the bar without wanting to be hit on, you will be annoyed.
Correct. If all you want to do, just go and have one drink in peace, and some guy
with your friends, just like dance.
Also, I'll tell you this: it's not shallow. It's the reality of life. It also depends on who's hitting on them. If a really dashing guy comes up to them and speaks to them, I don't think any woman is going to be annoyed.
That's true.
But reality is that most of us are not dashingly handsome. We're just regular guys. So it depends on presentation, man. It also depends on presentation.
How do you approach the person?
Not just that. How are you dressed? How are you carrying yourself? If you're badly dressed in fashion that's 5 years old and you're approaching a random stranger, they're going to judge you. They have nothing else to judge you but by your appearance. You might be a wonderful guy. Maybe you're an amazing guy. Maybe you're the most articulate person, but I don't know you. At first look, you look stupid or funny or badly dressed. I don't have any reason to talk to you. I just want to say, no, thank you, right? So if you're going to approach a strange woman at a bar, and a young girl or a woman, and you just want to initiate a conversation, make sure you smell good, you look good, you're somewhat. And I'm telling you this. And I read this poster a long time ago. Profound. It's a poster for a gym. It said, "Some people are born beautiful, but attractive. Now that's an equal opportunity adjective. Being attractive, it's an equal opportunity adjective. Anybody can be attractive. Not everyone's good looking, because some people are they have great skin, great features, beautiful smile, light eyes, the sleepy or whatever, like what's that, Ryan Reynolds, not Ryan Reynolds, the other guy, the sleepy, eyes dude.
Brad Pitt?
No. What is that, a musical that was a big hit recently?
That is
Ryan Gosling. He's one of those guys. I understood what
ridiculously good looking,
good looking, no, he's got those eyes, sleepy eyes, it's got that, where
Smokey?
he's got the soft look, I never got that, but when I see him, I'm like, oh my god, this is what women talk about. This guy has that soft romantic look. Most of us don't.
Chocolate boy.
Yeah, most of us. No, there's something about his look, man. He looks at you. I can imagine if I was a chick, I'd be like, whoa. I hate him. I hate the guy. I hate all good-looking men. I hate all attractive guys. I hate guys who are physically attractive because they piss me off. But over the years, that's why I had to work on my brain, as a revenge. Because most good-looking guys, and I'm not stereotyping, most guys are stupid. That's how nature works. It balances it off. Remember that. If you are, and I want anyone who thinks they're not good-looking to realize that nature balances everything off. If you're not good-looking, like a naturally, conventionally good-looking person, then chances are you probably have a higher chance of being intelligent. Nature balances everything out.
That's probably also because, naturally, when you realize you're not physically attractive, your other senses take over.
Absolutely. It's like when you're blind, you have better sense of hearing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that. And the funny thing is, women, no matter how intelligent you are, women are automatically attracted to a better looking guy initially. Yes. Yeah. But if you are a better person, and I'm not just mean being intelligent can also be arrogant. A lot of guys are also very intelligent, get very arrogant. Women don't find that attractive at all, actually.
It's the vibe you give off, ultimately. That's what matters.
I think ultimately, you should also be a better person. And that's the toughest challenge to be. But just being a better person doesn't help. You got to be a better person who also has some reason. You got to give the woman a reason to like you, man. That's what I want to say at the end. If you're a guy who wants a girl, give women a reason to like you. Why should they like you? They should like you because you're a nice guy who makes them laugh. You're a nice guy who makes them feel comfortable. You're a nice guy who actually listens to what they're saying. You're a nice guy who, okay, you want to bang them, but that shouldn't be the only thing. You know what I'm saying? Don't focus on that. It's especially when young, it's so easy to focus on wanting to bang. It's a natural urge. It's understandable. Nothing to be ashamed of, right? We've all been there. We've all done that and are doing that, right? But the emphasis cannot be on that, right? Focus on the person, And you know what? The funniest thing is, if you do all of this, automatically you won't like most of the women that you think you like.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times you think you like a girl, no, you just want to sleep with her because you want to sleep with someone.
Yeah.
And guys have lower standards, right? Women not so much so because they're a little more picky and choosy about
They can choose also.
And they also
have
have
the options.
They also have the options, correct? Men have lesser options in that sense. And also it's because men are, like I keep saying, lower standards, But any guy, man, if you're single, if you want women to find you attractive, it's up to you to become attractive. And I can tell you from personal experience, as somebody who was hardly attractive to someone today, I think I'm somewhat attractive to some women. It's been a long evolution for me, but the evolution has happened, and it's not like I've started to look like a Bollywood actor. It's not like I've accumulated huge amounts of wealth.
Maybe a Tollywood actor.
Perhaps. Or at least a Tollywood villain at best, worst case scenario, or a Tollywood comedian maybe.
Just like an interjection, from where I come, even Bengali film industry is Tollywood. But I'm assuming you're talking about Tamil film industry.
I'm talking about, Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, whatever. Man.
Because Tollywood is used in Tamil cinema.
Tamil cinema is Kollywood.
Oh, Kollywood.
Karnataka Telugu cinema is Tollywood.
Yeah. So
Kannada
even Bengali
Sandalwood.
cinema is called Tollywood because Bengali cinema actually started off in studios in this area called Tollyganj.
Oh.
So that's how it became Tollywood.
Okay. I think Tollywood in Andhra because Telugu, Tollywood. And Kannada is Sandalwood. I have no idea what Malayalam cinema is. It's just called Malayalam cinema.
Mollywood?
No, there's no such thing. It's called Malayalam cinema.
Okay.
Maybe it's called.
Thing, actually.
Maybe it's called. I don't know. Maybe it's called.
But tell me, why is Bollywood called because Bombay?
Bombay. Therefore, Bollywood was the first westernization of Indian cinema. Hollywood in Bombay, therefore Bollywood.
Yeah.
And from that came everything else.
Direct taping.
So that came from that. Everybody else.
The regional cinemas,
copied that term and created their own equivalent of it. Man, I think how long it seems like it's been ages, dude.
40 minutes.
What do you say?
Oh my god,
wow.
I'm serious.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's been a good conversation.
Yeah.
I think we can go on, but I think Bhavesh is getting very antsy, and I guess batteries are dying.
Yeah, this one's also
Dying or dead?
almost dead.
Almost dead. So I guess we'll wrap it.
We'll have to wrap it. Yeah.
Too bad we couldn't talk too much about Kashmir, but I think we covered something even more important, which is how men should get women.
Should be,
And I mean, if that's what I have to end the show on, it is by how to make a woman find you attractive is to become attractive. And how do you
Sales
become
pitch.
attractive? And how do you become attractive? By becoming a more attractive version of yourself. And your attractive version of yourself does not have to be the attractive version of myself. We're all unique.
Yeah.
And we have unique possibilities, unique potentials. And I think we have potentially unique mate out there. So if there's a guy, single guy watching this who feels unattractive, I just tell him to, shut the fuck up and work on yourself. Anybody, and I say this with confidence and with experience, any guy can be attractive to some woman out there. And not just some women, many women out there. And if you're in Bangalore, I think the options are plenty, because there are so many beautiful, attractive women out there who are genuinely looking for a mate or someone to be with. And huge possibilities. So on that note, cheers to you.
Cheers.
Happy journeys, happy travels, and hope you have a good hunt.
I'll try not to be a sheep anymore.
Oh yeah. Be the shepherd, not the sheep.
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Sendil.
You too, man. Thank you.